2017, in this period of time before Mueller was appointed, when they were interviewing candidates for FBI director. And I've talked to some people who interviewed for that job. A couple of them pulled themselves out of contention. It was a very chaotic time for this White House. He suggested that one of the candidates, at least one of the candidates, go in and wear a wire. Why would you do that?
Prosecutors, FBI agents, cops, the only time they talk about wearing a wire is when it's against a bad guy. So understand the gravity of the Deputy Attorney General of the United States actually verbalizing, even if in jest, the possibility that he might wear a wire against the President of the United States in the Oval Office, and what that means about the mindset of the Deputy Attorney General at that time, and what that means about what the President was doing at that time. But he, even in jest, he has now handed the President whatever the President needs to plausibly say, I need to get rid of you. Whether it's now or after the midterms, he's handed that to the President.
So what do we do next?
I think we realistically anticipate the dismissal of the Deputy Attorney General, whether it's before November midterms or not. And if you're on the Mueller team, which is what I'm thinking about right now, you're essentially doing that embassy consulate drill where the embassy's about to be overtaken and you start assuming you're about to be compromised.
What does that look like? You start moving cases out to SDNY, you start moving cases out to the U.S. Attorney's offices?
You press send. You press send on those packages. That prosecutorial parachute goes to various states' attorney general and various U.S. attorney offices.
Jennifer, I heard some advice today from an ally close to the president who said that the case to be made to Rosenstein, if it is Rosenstein's desire to leave, and we should also remind our viewers of bleep he's put up with. He's got an entire House Republican caucus that's drafted articles of impeachment for him. He faces abuse every time he's up on Capitol Hill. They're trying to release unredacted memos with state secrets in them, all to protect Donald Trump from the Russia probe. But one scenario was that he's agreed to stay until Mueller's investigation is over and the two walk out arm in arm and say our work here is done.
Right. That would be the best possible scenario, that he actually allows this to be completed. I think what you saw here was an effort, a game of chicken, as one former U.S. attorney said to me, an effort to get Rosenstein to see if he could be bullied into resigning, to see if he would go quietly. And when they saw that was impossible, they backed off a little bit. And I think the reaction from Capitol Hill, from the media, was sufficient to back them off. But this is a temporary stay of execution. And I think what all of us and what the Congress has to start thinking about is who would succeed Mueller, and who would succeed Rosenstein, excuse me. Would it go to the Solicitor General, or does he have conflicts? Would it go on down the chain of command?
Let's explain that to our viewers. So
right.
The Solicitor General is Noel Francisco. He might take over the Mueller probe, but his firm, Jones Day, represents Donald Trump in the Russia investigation.
Exactly. So that would seem to be a classic conflict of interest.
I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, and there may be something directly on point, according to Walt Schaub and other ethical people who say, like, he can't do this. So then you drop down to OLC. And goodness knows how far we're going to go with this. But it is important to remember that somebody other than Jeff Sessions is going to be managing that Mueller probe unless the president fires the Attorney General and the Republican Senate, if there is one, confirms somebody new. So number one, I think the Senate owes the country the obligation of saying we will not replace Jeff Sessions with a presidential pick until the Mueller investigation is complete. And number two, I think it behooves Mr. Francisco to be very upfront and clear about what his ethical obligations are. And in that case, there will be a career individual in the Justice Department who is supervising the Mueller.
There are other political Rod Rosenstein's deputy, Ed O'Callahan, is a political appointee. He's involved in overseeing the probe. There are other names there, but you're right. We have to watch that line of succession. I don't want to lose the thread, though, on this, and I want to bring Phil, you, and Eli back in your reporting. I want to remind everyone why Rosenstein is such a trigger for the president and why most of the venom that the president has unloaded until recently about the Russia investigation, he unloaded on Rosenstein. He really didn't name Mueller until about 12 weeks ago. And part of that was because Rosenstein was the official who signed off on the raid of Michael Cohen's offices. The president has tweeted about him, I am being investigated for firing the FBI director by the man who told me to fire the FBI director, witch hunt. So the president has laid so much of his hatred for the Justice Department at the feet of Rod Rosenstein.
He has. At the same time, he's praised him for other things that DOJ has done. I mean, it is hard to sort of follow, but yes, when the president is the angriest about where he is with the Mueller probe, where he is with SDNY, he does come back to Rosenstein.
Right.
And he does grumble about it, he does tweet about it, and I think has felt boxed in because of the fact that he can't or hasn't been able to feel like he can just do whatever he wants and fire him because of the political implications. So when he expresses frustration, like, I'm the president, why can't I do this? A lot of it is directed at Rosenstein and feeling boxed in, and this is an interesting moment for him.
So I think it's an interesting moment to wonder if the Congress, if Democrats take over, should bring every cabinet secretary up to the Hill and ask them to